Right, now that we've got the sophisticated, highly costed title out of the way, here is part 2 of, or the second video, or whatever you want to call it, on my Pickersgill 440, which, as stated in the first video and in the pictures, is a semi-scratch build. The tender, I've done nothing else to that really. Whoops, run away tenders again. It's as before. The tender is the modified gem tender. Removed the cowl rails from the top. Modified the frames there, and there to represent the Caledonian frames. The springs aren't quite right, but I'm not too worried. Once they're painted black, it's meant to be a layout loco, not a high spec, highly accurate loco, even though it will look like what it's meant to be. Coal space, need to fill in a bit at the front there. And the top of the tender. The kit that I got second hand had the top of the tender missing, but it didn't really matter anyway. The top insert I should say, because I've just made it out of card. No, I've not, plastic card. In my spares box I had 2 tank fillers from my Bachmann J72, so I've just put them on top of 2 brass bearings that I think they're out of a Hornby loco, an older Hornby loco. What else? As stated in the last video, I've still not fitted brakes. As you can see, they're non-existent at the moment, but that is not urgent because the tender is basically there. There's a handbrake to go on. Oops, daisy, big hands there, but that can wait for the next video or next phase of operations, if that's the right word. Right, on to the loco. There's been a lot of work done, even though you can't readily see it. At the moment I've took the gears out because I was working on the regulator, the lubricator, get the word right, underneath. If you can see there, I'll put the camera down a little bit. I've made the mounting for it a little bit more slender because it was too bulky looking, I think. But now it runs quite nicely. There's very light pressure I'm putting on it. And also the loco, I've fitted brakes. I don't think I've got them quite right, I might have to adjust them. They look too high up compared to the drawing. You can see here in the book. The brakes are about, I don't know, a third of the way up the wheels if you look at the drawing. But if you look at the loco that I've done, there we go, you compare them. The brakes are a little bit too low. No, the brake shoes anyway, on the wheels are more or less in the middle, in the centre there. I think they should be a bit lower down, but I'll worry about that later. You can get a glimpse of the etched brass, parts of the etched brass chassis for a Gem Glen that I've used, or reused I should say. Well, the pickups have came off there, I have to sort them. In order to solder the representation of the brakes to the chassis, because it would look odd without any brakes whatsoever. You know, it's meant to be representative. Again, it's not meant to be 100% accurate, because I'm trying to keep the costs down, but yeah, they look not too bad. And the screws on the coupling rods that keep them in, obviously the old triangle screws. I'm in 2 minds about changing these, because if anything goes wrong at a show, it's 2 seconds to whip them off. But obviously on the other side, there, I've used a Hornby hexagonal nut. I think it's out of a Hornby D49, I think. Just so it's easier to solder the link to there. So it's not quite in focus. I think I'm going to have to tidy that up a little bit. It's looking a bit scrappy, but I've run it. I was at the bottom of a bottle of flux, and I don't think it's got all of its properties left because it was a messy soldering job for something that should be just a quick tack. But as regards the lubricator, I did think about making it just not moving, i.e. a bit of brass rod on the brass strip even on the bottom of the running plate, and again making it not move, but it does move like it's supposed to. You see there, it pulls the lubricator back and forward. It's not quite right. It should be in the middle there, but it isn't. But it was that lubricator, white metal lubricator, can't speak, was, that's it properly. That is a white metal job from Gem. Again, I've got an old Gem Glen body kit that I've had lying about for God knows how long, and I've cannibalised various bits off of it, including the lubricator and the chimney and the dome, and I was thinking about using the buffers off of it, but they're too bulky looking for me. So again, I'm using, or I will be using, them, which I mentioned in the last video. And looking at them, they're not dissimilar to the Caledonian. It doesn't really show on that drawing, but guesstimation again. If I get the buffers and lay them, get them so one's in line. You look at that buffer there, you know, they're not, I don't know if it'll work, they're not too far out. These drawings were kindly supplied to me by the Caledonian Society, one of their members, because I tried for ages and I could not get a 4mm scale drawing of a Pickersgill 440. In this Bible of mine, I have got dozens of drawings, books and information, if I can say it right again, but finding this was not, well, it wasn't easy. A chap called Richard Doak sent me those ones, but they are slightly under scale, but it didn't matter really once I'd got them. But this drawing only shows the farming side of the logo, or the left hand side, whereas that drawing shows the other side, which is more important for like the Westinghouse pump and the positions of all the plumbing on the side of the boiler and what have you. And it also gave me more information about the lubricator and how it worked. I did go on YouTube and type in Pickersgill 440 and I found somebody did a no gauge model, which gave me some information as well. But the loco and the tender, I'll move this folder out of the way. I've made just a cheap coupling out of a bit of brass strip, which is again out of the Gem chassis kit, which, as I mentioned in the last video, is pretty crap, but I've used the springs, as you can see there, and the main chassis sides, and they've actually been soldered to the brass bearings that are fitted in the chassis to accept the tri-line wheels. Not at the front, because I've got the older tri-line size axle in there. I've took the gear out because I need to swap it for one that's knurled, because the one that's in there, it's smooth, and the gear is a tight-ish fit. But it does slip, so I'm going to send off for an axle that's knurled, but it's a 2-minute job to change that over. Try and do this while holding the camera steady. There we go. And at the back it's just a simple screw with hole, and now I'm doing it on the camera, it won't go in, and just pushing, light pushing pressure, if that's the right phrase, and it goes nice and smooth. And it'll do for now. Obviously there's a lot more to do. I've ordered handrail knobs. I'm going to make a smoke box door out of a couple of sheets of plastic art and a Dremel. The idea basically is, instead of this treaty rougher, where is it? Where are you? There you are. Instead of a disc, what I do, I take out the disc, I get 2 sheets of plastic card, laminate them together and screw them in there, I get focus, and obviously cut it to roughly the right diameter. And what I do is I put this Dremel or multi-tool on the lowest speed possible, obviously spinning, preferably away from me, and I use files and emery paper to sand down the smoke box door. It's actually quite effective, I mean quite a cost effective way of doing it, because, I'll put you there for a minute, where is it? There we are. This is an is an off British C16 from Newcastle. I got years ago, but the smoke box door was looked like somebody had attacked it with acid. You can't really see, it's a bit dark. But that smoke box door, if it'll focus, there you go, is made from plasticard. And I've put plastic strip on it for the smoke box door hinges, etc. And a brass door dart and what have you, but that's made of plasticard and you wouldn't know it. And it blended it in, doesn't look too bad. So I figured, if I can do it on that, then I can do it on that. Again, using the drawings that I got supplied to me. So this video is not as interesting as the other one, obviously, because people have seen this logo before, but I hope it is of some interest to people, some people anyway. When I get the handrails, etc. through the post, and the logo should come together a lot more quickly, and the narrowed axle that I need to make it run the motor. The motor's in it, and I know it does run sweetly. Oops, easy. The cameraman's going to get sacked here, but it does. It is looking. Shift that. It is looking like what it's meant to. Don't drop the demo. Health and safety. Yeah, but not too bad. It looks better with a lubricator drive, with a bit of a smaller link there, because the old one was somewhere. Sorry, mucking about, can't find it. But you probably see from the previous video, the old lubricator link there was a bit bulky, so I swapped it for a bit of an old Hornby valve gear, I think it was, off an A3. But it looks okay. Anyway, I'm going to stop weathering because there's not much more to show at the moment. But yeah, maybe next week I will have another video to show people, which is maybe a little bit more interesting.